I am not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. I'm just a guy out here hearing all the stories of the FFLs and New Pew crew getting pissed. If you guys are mad, direct it at the elected. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Norse Arms. So today I kind of want to just run through some of the more common questions that are being asked at our local FFLs. I'm going to try to keep too much of the political out of it, as well as try to keep my own opinions out of it. It's a little bit difficult because it's very frustrating, because I'm finding out there are a lot of people going into our local gun shops and actually getting mad at them for these laws. And what you guys need to realize is they aren't the ones that put these laws into effect. They fought as hard as they could to keep them away. So with that, let's get into our first round of questions. You have to be 21. So this has changed over the years. It was 21 for handguns only. Then it was 21 for handguns and semi-automatic rifles. And now it's 21 for every single firearms purchased in Washington State. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's a mess. It's stupid. I know. It's only been the last year that it's been this way. So it's kind of one of those, the state sucks. That's it. That's quite simple. You can't purchase because House Bill 1240 decided that they were going to ban anywhere between 70 and 75 specific firearm models and manufacturers from being sold in Washington State. But to make sure that no new ones would pop up unexpectedly, they decided to add a catch-all. And the catch-all is to where if it has 3 or more of the following features, it can't be sold in Washington State. If it has an adjustable or folding stock, if it has a thumb hole stock, a pistol grip, if it has the capability to accept a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, if it's semi-automatic centerfire, which we'll do a whole video on rimfire, centerfire, and all that, but that's what the regulation is. If it has a barrel shroud that encompasses more than 2/3 of the barrel. It's not a barrel shroud, but okay. Has a threaded barrel or a muzzle device. There's a lot of gray area in there for a lot of different things. I'm not going to break down too much of those right now, but just so you know that those are the so-called features that you're not allowed to purchase a firearm with. You can still get service parts for firearms that you already own pre-ban. So like the stuff you see on the wall behind me, I've owned this stuff for years now, pre-banning of anything in Washington. And if something breaks on it, I have to be able to service it. Otherwise, it's a de facto ban, therefore unconstitutional. So the state couldn't have got away with it. So they had to be like, fine, you just can't buy the AR-15 lowers now, because the lower receiver is the firearm. It was a mess. Short answer is no, you don't have to register it. But that's because it's already done for you. So in Washington State now, it is required that any firearms sold have to be reported to the Department of Licensing. And you may ask, okay, well, that's if you go to a gun shop. You know, what if I want to sell it or I want to buy one from a friend? That goes into our next question. Initiative 594 instituted Washington State's universal background check. So your universal background check can only be upheld if there is a registry. So before, when it came to registering your firearms, you don't have to. They do it for you. It's reported to the Department of Licensing. They're supposed to destroy those records, but they have to be able to make sure that the universal background check process is followed. So you really think that they're going to destroy those records when that's the only way that they can make sure I'm not selling to somebody that they haven't okayed? Just saying. So when it comes to private transactions, you have to go to the FFL. The FFL then holds on to the firearm, and you do the money transfer or whatever. You pay for the background check. And then once they get the call that it's released, after the designated waiting period, either you as the purchaser or them as the purchaser can go and pick up the firearm. It is now reported to the Department of Licensing. And if the FFLs aren't doing it, that's on them. I would not recommend any of them arguing with that in the comments section, because if you're supposed to be doing it and you're not doing it, you're looking at issues. You got to remember, Ferguson's our fucking governor now. Okay? Just saying. Speaking of waiting periods, 10 business days. It's a 10 business day wait. This is called a cool down period. It's arbitrary. It's a 10 business day wait, and it got expanded to all firearms. It used to just be semi-automatic rifles and handguns. Before 2018, it was just handguns that had a 10-day wait. And before 2014, it was only a 3-day wait, which was circumvented by having a concealed pistol license. That all went away. Now it's mandatory 10 business days. You're waiting no matter what. The business days, the reasons I say that, weekends and holidays do not count. If you purchase a firearm the Friday before Thanksgiving, let's just say randomly, you buy a firearm the Friday before Thanksgiving, you are not going to pick that up until mid-December. Okay? That's just, it is what it is. This was also to give time for the Washington State Patrol. Why Washington State Patrol? Well, that's because they decided, instead of the FFL running it through the NICS background check system, or the FFL submitting it to the county sheriffs or the local municipality, they were going to send it through the Washington State Patrol. You know, the one that in 2020 they defunded, and 2021 they fired a bunch of people and laid off a bunch of people, and then a lot of the other ones left. That same Washington State Patrol. It's to give them time to run the background check analysis, which all they do is they run it through the NICS background check system, and then they run it through the Washington version of that. Which, why would the Washington version be different than the FBI version? Just food for thought. Just think about it. Certifications. Yes, certifications. You have to be certified. So, you used to only have to be certified to purchase semi-automatic rifles. 1143 changed that. Now it has to be all of them. It also decided that instead of being a lifetime certification, you now have to do it every 5 years. So there is an expiration date on it. Huge shout out to Sporting Systems, because they have had an online course for both of these certification requirements for free as a service to the Second Amendment community. So that way we don't have to shell out money to get the certification. Sucks that we have to do it, but at least they've done a service to it for us and made it free. Don't be mad at them if the system crashes, or if it hoses up, or if you don't get the certification right away, or if it's an issue or an error. If you finish the class, call them and say, hey, I just haven't gotten this. Do not get nasty. Do not get snarky with the employees. They can take this away from us like that. So be nice. It pays to be nice. Yeah, you can't get your mags. Senate Bill 5078 decided that 10 rounds is standard capacity, even though the manufacturers themselves dictate what the standard capacity is for each platform. Washington State has said that they are smarter than a manufacturer who is, riddled with engineers that do testing, and said that you can only have 10 round magazines. This is being fought currently in the Washington State Supreme Court. The Washington State Supreme Court is hearing the case for the Gators Customs guns. This is being spearheaded by the Silent Majority Foundation. For any updates, go ahead and check them out. But they are fighting it in the litigation process, and hopefully we hear back about that one in the next 2 or 3 months. This one's not so much asked. This one, it was more of a what the hell moment for me than anything else. So I'm scrolling through, checking out all the SHOT Show coverage the other day, and William Kirk from Washington Gun Law has Carrie Sloan from Stilettos and Shotguns on. And it was talking about Washington State, our laws, our restrictions, and all that kind of stuff. And they got on the topic of Initiative 1639. If you guys know, that was the one that did the classes and restrictions of semi-automatic rifles, and it went through a whole bunch of different regulations. Much of it is kind of washed out with other laws that have been put into place, so they kind of took over for what 1639 did. But this part, not only is it still active, but it is buried so deep in the initiative, I didn't even know about it until I saw this interview. 1639 gives the state of Washington a free waiver into your medical history whenever you fill out a Form 4473. The Form 4473 is the background check paperwork that you filled out to get your firearm. Several issues with this. One, they're not looking for broken bones or if you got your flu shot, which there is one that they might look for eventually, but they're not looking for any of that. Use that information as you see fit. It doesn't end once you receive the firearm. There is no expiration to the waiver. So just because, oh, well, I had it years ago and, since 2018, well, 7 years ago, it ain't good. It's still active. There's no expiration on it. They can go back and check it anytime. That should bother every single one of you, that they have the right to do that. It's part of their red flag agenda. So that's the information that you need to know about that one. All right, guys, that is all I've got for you today. That is pretty much everything that is the basis of first-time firearm purchases in Washington State. I will link up the entire RCW down in the description box, as well as have the Sporting Systems online certification, the link to Silent Majority Foundation, and Washington Gun Law, so you can go and check out all of the information that I just gave you. I will also put all of the socials that I am on. I am pretty much everywhere, so don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, head on over and give us some follows on the other social media. As always, stay safe, stay savage, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Like, subscribe, do the thing. Why is there bacon in the soup?
I made it myself.